But Bear took it beyond just a wish, and when his dream came true, his life turned into a terrifying nightmare he never could have imagined. And that's what we'll see in today's movie. The movie begins with our protagonist, Pierre, practicing how to confess his feelings to the girl he loves. His friend stops him and tells him it would be better to confess directly. He asks the girl to leave and sits down with Pierre to teach him how to act around her. He tells him to call her by her nickname, Weird Nikki, and start a conversation about how people used to bully her and call her that. But Pierre refuses, saying she hates that nickname because it reminds her of the bullying she went through. Pierre returns home and finds his cat dead. He notices some medication on the floor and wonders how it got there. So he puts it back where it belongs, cleans up the area, and places the cat's body in a bag. Later, we see him crying in his room over his cat, and then he visits Nikki's Instagram page. Suddenly, she calls him, and he can hardly believe it. She asks if he is coming tonight, but he says he cannot. She tells him she wanted to talk to him about something and that she is leaving her job in 2 weeks. As soon as he realizes he may never see her again, he agrees to come. Suddenly, he hears her scream and asks what is wrong. She tells him that her crystal necklace fell into a drain. Later, he goes to a shop and asks the employee if they sell crystal necklaces. She says yes and points him toward them. Suddenly, he notices a collection of wish dolls and buys one. Before he leaves, the employee warns him that many problems have happened because of those dolls, and that they have ruined many lives. But he laughs and ignores her warning. After that, he meets up with his friends, and Nikki is with them. His friend Ian keeps giving him signals to take her side and confess. But Nikki notices and asks what they are doing. They laugh it off, and then Pierre and Nikki go to buy drinks. They joke around and laugh together, and he almost confesses several times, but someone always interrupts them. Then Sarah joins them, and they sit together drinking, so he cannot confess. Pierre tells Sarah that his cat died, and she hugs him and comforts him. Afterward, they leave the place. Nikki says she wants to go home because she feels tired, and Pierre's friend tries to convince her to stay. Pierre keeps looking at her lovingly. Nikki asks Ian to drive her home, but Pierre offers to do it instead, saying that he is tired too. On the way, she asks if anyone has spare change. Sarah says she does and gives some money to a person in need. When Pierre sees this, he likes her even more and feels she is kind-hearted. During the drive, Nikki keeps comforting him about his cat and tells him he can talk to her anytime he wants to vent. He tells her he got her something when they arrive at her house. Before getting out, she tells him that Sarah spent the whole day asking about him and asks how he feels about Sarah. He replies that he only likes Sarah as a friend. She tells him good night and gets out. But Pierre calls her back and says he wants to ask her something. Then he changes his mind and says he forgot what he wanted to say. She says goodbye again, but he tells her good night. Weird Nikki. She becomes upset and tells him not to call her that. He apologizes and she asks if he likes her. He says they are just good friends. She says goodbye and leaves. Pierre feels like he wasted his last chance and becomes very upset. He takes out the wish doll, wishes that she would love him, and breaks it. When he starts his car, he sees Nikki standing at the door. Surprised, he asks what she wants. She asks about the thing he got for her. He says he forgot it at home. Then she invites him inside. Pierre finds this very strange and starts suspecting that the doll changed her. He asks if she is okay. She says yes and asks him to come in and talk with her about his cat. But she starts acting strangely. She gets into his car and says she wants to go home with him. He tries to convince her to stay at her own house because she is not well, but she says she does not want to be alone and that her father is sick. She starts crying, so he agrees to take her with him. At his house, he tells her to make herself comfortable, but as he is about to leave, she stops him and asks him to sleep beside her. He is shocked but agrees after some hesitation. Suddenly, she starts taking off her clothes. He is even more shocked and asks if she is okay. She tries to get close to him, but he pulls away. Suddenly, she starts screaming and says she was the one who initiated it. Then she apologizes and says she saw something. She tells him they should sleep. She explains that she was having a panic attack and starts crying. Later, Pierre is sleeping on the floor. He wakes up and searches online to see whether the wish doll is real. He finds people saying it is real and others saying it is just a myth. He closes the computer and laughs it off. Then he notices Nikki is awake. She asks what he was doing, and he lies, saying he was in the bathroom. She asks him to sleep beside her, and he does. In the morning, Pierre wakes up and finds Nikki missing. He goes to the kitchen and sees a slaughtered cat. Nikki walks in and says, "It's a memorial for your cat." He replies, "That's horrifying." Then they go to work. Ian comes over and asks what happened the previous night. Pierre tells him it was a strange night. When they look toward Nikki, they see her staring at them and listening to their conversation. They laugh and quickly change the subject so she does not become suspicious. Later, Ian tells him that the story about her father having cancer sounds strange because she does not even care about her father, and he actually lives in Washington. Pierre tells him how she kept getting close to him, pushing him, hugging him, then pulling away, crying, and asking him to sleep beside her. Ian says she was probably drunk. They look over at her again and see that she is still staring at them and smiling. After work, Pierre tells Nikki that he cannot drive her home. She says she only came to pick up her book, then leaves with Ian. At the end of the day, Ian calls Pierre and tells him that Nikki is acting as if he confessed his love to her. At that moment, someone knocks on the door. Pierre is shocked to see Nikki. She apologizes for what happened the previous night because she heard from Ian that he was frightened by her behavior. He tells her that he was actually happy she was there. She says she was drunk and not in her right mind. He asks whether she remembers what happened, and she says she remembers some of it. She blames it on her father's illness. Then she confesses that she likes what they have between them and that she knows he likes her. When he looks surprised, she says she has liked him for a long time. She asks if he has feelings for her, and finally, he admits that he does. They start spending more time together and growing closer. Even at work, they become a cute couple. One day, they are having dinner at a restaurant, talking and laughing, when Ian calls him after already trying twice. Pierre excuses himself and goes to see him. Ian tells him that he investigated the story about Nikki's father having cancer and discovered that her father is perfectly healthy and goes to work every day. He asks why she would lie. He also says he called the hospital she mentioned, and they said they had never heard of anyone by that name. Furthermore, he tells Pierre that Nikki once told Sarah that Pierre was like a brother to her. Ian thinks either Nikki is using him, she is crazy, or Sarah is jealous and lying. Pierre returns to Nikki. She gives him a gift and says, "This is a tiger's eye stone. I inherited it from my mother." He asks, "Why are you giving it to me?" She replies, "Because I love you, and I can't imagine my life without you." He asks, "Does your father really have cancer?" She immediately starts acting strangely, stands up, and says, "No, no, no. And I thought this date was going to be nice." Then she starts crying, and he comforts her. Pierre returns home. At 3 in the morning, he wakes up and cannot find her in bed. Suddenly, he sees her standing in the corner of the room. He asks, "What are you doing?" He notices she is wearing his jacket. She says, "I'm wearing it because it smells like you." He tells her to come back to bed, but she starts crying and says he does not love her as much as she loves him. Pierre is frightened and tells her he loves her. As soon as he lies down again, she starts screaming and walking in a strange way. He asks, "What are you doing?" She replies, "For your cat's sake, I'll go back." Then she lies down beside him. Just as he is about to move, she says, "Sleep on your back," while screaming. In the morning, he notices that part of his hair has been cut. He goes to Nikki and asks if she cut it. She replies, "Yes." He asks her not to do it again. Then he thanks her for making lunch. Afterward, he says, "Let's talk about what happened last night." He explains that her behavior was frightening. She says she only had a nightmare. He tells her, "Promise me no more strange behavior. Don't stare at me while I'm sleeping, and don't move like that." She promises and apologizes. As soon as he gets up to leave, he is shocked. The entire door is covered with pictures, making it difficult to get out. She says, "If you can't get out, just stay home." After struggling, he manages to leave. She keeps smiling creepily and waits herself. At work, he opens his lunchbox and finds photographs of the two of them, including pictures of him sleeping. He starts eating the sandwich. When Sarah comes over joking around, she picks up the note that came with the food and says, it says, "What do you think of the cat?" He is confused. He looks at the sandwich. When he realizes he has eaten cat meat, he throws up everything. After work, Ian asks him for a ride because he left his car at home. On the way, Pierre asks why he and Nikki were not invited to the party. Ian says he thinks Nikki is manipulating him and is worried about him. If Pierre wants to come, he can come without her. He says, "Think of it as a guy's night." I'll tell Sarah not to come. After Ian gets out, Pierre practices in front of the mirror how he will tell Nikki. She's really upset. You can't cook a cat, and I'm going out with my friend Ian tonight. But then he opens his bag and finds the wish doll. He calls the number written on it and asks if he can change his wish. The man says no. He asks if it can be cancelled. The man says it cannot. Pierre starts arguing and asks what he is supposed to do now, especially since everything is ruined. The man explains that the wish cannot be undone as long as Pierre is alive. When he gets home, he finds the entire place covered in blood. He backs away and asks, "What is this?" She replies, "I'm disgusting, right? I was waiting for you to come home." He says, "Come on, let's take a shower." She goes into the bathroom. When he sees the blood on the floor, he remembers something and asks, "Did you cook the cat?" He tells her that it was wrong and that he is very upset. She says, "Okay." Then he says, "I'm going to my friend's place. It's a guy's night." She asks, "Can I come?" He says it sounds nice, but it is a guy's night and he has to go alone. She suddenly screams loudly. Then she says, "That's strange. Sarah told me she was going." Frightened, he says, "You know what? Come with me." At the party, Ian asks, "Why did you bring her?" Pierre says, "It's Sarah's fault. She told her." While everyone is playing games, people become uncomfortable with the way Nikki laughs. When it is her turn, she tells an extremely frightening story, making everyone nervous. She claims it is a novel she is working on. When it is Pierre's turn, the challenge is to kiss the person on his left, which is Sarah. At that moment, Nikki stands up, goes behind Sarah, pulls away her chair, and forces Pierre to kiss her instead. Then she says loudly, "Everyone here will die before they understand how much I love him." Ian asks, "Nikki, are you okay?" She replies, "I'm joking." Then she keeps laughing. Most of them become annoyed and leave. Suddenly, she screams at something, grabs a bottle, and smashes it against her own head. She terrifies everyone. Pierre has completely given up. Even though everyone tells him to take her to the hospital immediately, he just sits there staring at her. He takes her home in his car. She falls asleep on his shoulder, covered in blood. When they arrive home, she tries to get close to him, but he says he is going to the bathroom. She tells him, "Lock yourself outside." He asks, "What was that at the party? Why did you scare everyone like that?" She keeps apologizing, as usual, and tells him she knows Sarah likes him. She tries to kiss him, but he pulls away. He tries to convince her to go back to her own house, even if only for one night, and that they should spend some time apart. But she keeps crying and saying, "No, I love you." He says, "Then act normal. I want you to behave like Nikki." She screams and says, "I can't be Nikki." Then she apologizes again and says, "I love you." Suddenly, she gets up. He begs her not to hurt him and tells her to sleep in the bed tonight. While he comes back in the morning, he notices she has gone inside. He asks, "What are you doing?" She approaches him in a terrifying way, says strange things, and walks around the room. The poor guy spends the entire night sleeping on his back. Meanwhile, he receives a text from Sarah saying she needs to tell him something very important. She tells him she is waiting outside in the garden. He replies that he cannot come. He calls out to Nikki and sees that she is asleep. Sarah threatens that if he does not come, she will come to him. He tries to sneak out, but Nikki hears him. She asks, "Where are you going?" He lies and says he is getting water. She says, "Then please kill me." When he looks confused, she says, "She's asleep. I'm Nikki. Please don't wake her up. Kill me." He leaves and goes outside. He meets Sarah, who tells him she finally closed a great deal at work and came to celebrate with him. Then she says, "There's something I need to tell you. Ian said something but never told you." He asks, "What did he say?" She tells him that Ian and Nikki have been hanging out together for 2 years, just as friends. Ian thinks she was only spending time with him to make Pierre jealous. She advises him to find someone calmer than Nikki. She starts saying, "Like you," but suddenly, Nikki startles them, smashes her own head again, and enters. Pierre is terrified. She says, "Sorry you had to see that, but this is your fault." Then she turns to Sarah and says, "You brought this on yourself." She turns back to Pierre and says, "Don't be afraid, my love." Then she tells him she needs his help getting rid of the body. He has no choice but to obey. They place Sarah's remains in the trunk of the car. Then Nikki appears and says, "We're done, my love." Pierre gets into the car and opens a work letter belonging to Sarah. He feels terrible for her and starts screaming and crying. He goes to the wish shop but cannot find the door. He asks the seller, "Where are the wish dolls?" The man replies, "What wish dolls?" Then he says, "I'm just kidding." He asks, "Did you make a terrible wish and now want to undo it?" Pierre tells him she became obsessed with him and that many terrible things happened because of it. He says he needs a solution. The man explains that he can get another wish doll and have someone else wish for the opposite of his wish because every person only gets one wish unless they die. Pierre buys another doll. Back in his car, he takes out the doll and wishes for her to become just a friend. But the doll does not break because he has already used his wish. He rushes to Ian. When he arrives, Ian sends him a message from Sarah's phone telling him to come quickly to the house. Pierre panics and tells him not to come. Ian asks what is going on. Pierre finally tells him that he wished for Nikki to love him, and ever since then she has been acting strangely. He says the wish came from that doll, and that he had no idea it was real. Ian mocks him and says Nikki probably took him to some scam artist. Pierre keeps trying to explain that the doll is responsible. Ian suggests making another wish. Pierre says, "I can't. Everyone only gets one wish." Then he asks Ian to wish that he had never made the original wish. He warns him that the doll is real. Ian opens it mockingly and says, "I wish for $1 million. The wish actually comes true." Pierre is completely shocked and breaks down. When Pierre returns to his apartment, he brings the wish doll with him. He tells Nikki, "You would do anything for me, right?" He finds her doing something strange and covering the walls with their photographs. As soon as he opens the door, He is horrified to see Sarah's remains sitting in a chair. He stares at her as she cries and moves unnaturally. At that moment, Ian knocks on the door and says, "My friend, I have $1 million now." Pierre is startled. The moment Ian enters, Nikki shoots him, spits in his face, and screams. Pierre keeps telling her, "I love you." He humors her. He tells her that he loves her and that they need to make their relationship work. He lies and says she is the most beautiful girl in the world. He tells her they just need to wash their faces. Then he goes into the bathroom and locks himself inside. She keeps pounding on the door and screaming, as usual. At that moment, he takes out the stone she gave him and throws it away. She says, "My love, are we thinking about breaking up?" He tries to die just to escape the nightmare. She keeps screaming outside. Suddenly, he hears the wish doll activate. He hears her making a wish. He stops what he is doing. He comes out to her, and he kisses her. She had probably wished for him to love her, but her happiness does not last. An alarm starts going off. Pierre dies, and with that, the curse ends. Nikki returns to her normal self. Then she is horrified by all the blood around her.